Good evening. You're tuning into AWANI Tonight with me, Saraya Mia. Japan has issued a tsunami warning after a magnitude 7.6 earthquake struck the central region. National broadcaster NHK reported waves of around 1 meter high along the coast of the Sea of Japan, with larger waves expected. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued a major tsunami warning for the prefectures of Ishikawa, Niigata, and Toyama, as residents were urged to evacuate to higher ground amid the winter weather. More than 36,000 households in the area lost power, while flights and rail services were suspended. The country's largest nuclear power operator, Kansai Electric, said there were no abnormalities at its nuclear plants in the affected area. Russia and South Korea have also issued tsunami warnings for affected cities. The last big earthquake and tsunami to hit northeastern Japan was in 2011, killing nearly 20,000 people and triggering a nuclear meltdown at the Fukushima power plant. On to local news. The Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM examinations for 2023 will be held from January 8th to March 7th. According to Education Ministry, a total of 395,870 candidates have registered to sit for the SPM Year 2023 exam in 3,340 units examination centers across the country. The ministry in a statement said a total of 129,635 examination officers have been appointed to ensure smooth management and handling of examinations. Candidates were reminded to bring identification documents and their examination registration statement to the examination center. Candidates must also adhere to standard operating procedures and rules set to ensure the smooth management of the SPM examination year 2023. Meanwhile, almost 600,000 road accidents were reported nationwide from January 1st to December 30th, 2023, involving 12,417 deaths. Bukit Aman Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department authorities said Selangor recorded the highest number of deaths, with 2,092 people. This is followed by Johor with 2,010 deaths, and then Perak with 1,321 deaths. Police added that Selangor also recorded the highest number of accidents, with 173,129 cases, followed by Johor, 87,370 cases, and Kuala Lumpur, 72,701 cases. This comes after the Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department carried out large-scale integrated New Year's Eve operations nationwide, involving all contingents and districts from 8 p.m. Sunday to 5 a.m. Monday. The operations involved 4,378 police officers and personnel, including the Road Transport Department, the National Anti-Drug Agency, the Environment Department, and the Immigration Department. The Election Commission EC has no plans to redelineate electoral boundaries in the Peninsula and Sabah for the time being. For Sarawak, however, EC Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh says the Commission is studying the suitability of carrying out such an exercise.
Abdul Ghani said a review of redelineation could only be conducted after 8 years from the last exercise, or if the composition and numbers of the State Assembly had changed. Redelineation is the process of dividing the Federation and provinces into their respective constituencies. The last review of federal seats took place in 2018, just before the 14th general election, while Sarawak's was in 2015 and Sabah's in 2017. Abdul Ghani added that a review of the electoral boundaries by the EC can only take place if there is a notification to the Dewan Rakyat Speaker and the Prime Minister, as well as the gazetting of a notice under the 13th schedule of the Federal Constitution.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more. The latest highly transmissible COVID-19 Omicron strain Jn1, which has dominated cases in Singapore and other parts of the world, has made its way to Malaysia. Classified as variant of interest by the World Health Organization, molecular virologist Dr. Vinod Balasubramaniam explains how serious it is and whether we should be concerned.
Now, just because the mutations, if there are much higher number of mutations or there are newer and newer variants, does not mean that does not equate to severity. Okay, usually viruses mutate so that they stay relevant. They can still infect a large number of the community while not causing severe diseases. That's what viruses do. So that because if they kill the host immediately, right, they got no one else to infect. Usually virus evolution, that's how it works, right? Now with the Jn1, it is actually a close cousin to the BA286, the Pirola strain of the Omicron, right? Closely related. So because it's closely related, if you look at the symptoms, it starts off with sore throat, with congestion, with a little bit of fever, diarrhea, similar symptoms similar to the BA286 strain. Okay, and there are no data currently to show that it is much more severe. There are no data to show that it has higher mortality rate, right? Although we should not take it lightly. Okay, we should not take it lightly. Now, there are evidences to show that now this Jn1 strain is currently highly transmissible because of the mutations. It is also good at evading immune responses, meaning that if we have previous, protection against, other Omicron variants, for example, it will not protect us 100%. Now I say 100%. That means those who are vaccinated, those who have had natural infection previously, say 3 to 4 months ago, will still get infected. However, with lesser degree of severity or symptoms.
COVID-19 is not the first global pandemic, and unfortunately, it will not be the last one. As the world evolves, there is increased risk of zoonotic diseases, where infectious diseases spread from animals to humans in close proximity. The question remains, is the world prepared?
This is not to scare people, but COVID-19 won't be the last pandemic. Why? Because of the way the world is moving, urbanization, industrialization. See, the next pandemic will be definitely of zoonotic origin. There will be a spillover between animals and humans, for sure, simply because of all this modernization is basically bringing humans and animals much closer, at a much closer proximity, which enables, any zoonotic diseases to be transferred to humans, similar to COVID-19, similar to, if you look at all the previous pandemics, H1N1, MERS, SARS, these are all has zoonotic origin. So it is inevitable. Being said that, a lot of countries are now looking at candidate vaccines for disease X. We have been talking about disease X. What is the next pandemic? There are a lot of candidate vaccines being tested now. I think the world is moving at the right direction in terms of protecting us. The world has learned a lot from the previous COVID-19 pandemic. Right? Vaccine equity, for example, is very important. Right? So especially to lower income countries where distribution of vaccines, PPEs, medical equipment, it's important to protect the world as a whole. So I think we'll be, much prepared for the next one.
Over in Gaza, fierce ground fighting is ongoing in the center of Khan Yunis as Palestinians start 2024 sheltering from Israeli shelling. The Burij refugee camp went under heavy air attacks early on Monday as Israeli ground forces expands to southern Khan Yunis. Meanwhile, Israeli tanks have pulled out of some Gaza City districts on Monday, while remaining in others. And Israeli army officials said that the military would draw down forces inside Gaza this month and shift to a months-long phase of more targeted operations. Separately, thousands of doses of vaccines against childhood diseases, including polio and measles, have begun entering Gaza on Monday. Experts, however, say administering the vaccine would be difficult because most of Gaza's population has been displaced. At least 20,822 people were killed and 56,451 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. While some 1,200 people were killed in Israel on October 7th, with 240 taken hostage, Hamas still holds 129 of them in Gaza after releasing about 100. In other news, heavy rain lashed parts of eastern Australia on New Year's Day, causing flash floods and inundating roads. Several towns in New South Wales and Queensland received nearly a month's worth of rain in the 24 hours to Monday morning.
More heavy rain is forecast through Tuesday morning, with total rainfall forecast to exceed 9.8 inches, more than the January average. Queensland's popular Gold Coast tourist region has been among the worst hit by the floods. Thousands of people in the state are still without power after thunderstorms on 25th and 26th December uprooted trees and snapped power lines. Authorities said the latest storms could delay efforts to restore power.
Denmark's Queen Margrethe II has announced that she will abdicate on January 14th after 52 years on the throne. Europe's longest-serving monarch will be succeeded by her eldest son, Crown Prince Frederik.
The 83-year-old Queen made the surprise announcement on live television during her annual New Year's Eve speech, watched by many in the country of 5.9 million people. She said she had come to the decision after a period of reflection following back surgery in early 2023. Queen Margrethe first ascended the throne in 1972, following the death of her father. She was not expected to become queen when she was born, but Danish law was changed when she was 13 to allow women to succeed to the throne. Formal power in Denmark lies with the elected parliament and government, while the monarch represents the nation with traditional duties, including state visits and National Day celebrations.
Across the globe, countries have been celebrating the end of 2023 and welcoming the new year. Here's how different parts of the world mark the start of 2024.
New Zealanders were among the first in the world to celebrate the arrival of 2024 with a fireworks display in Auckland. Sydney, Australia's biggest city, set off a silver and gold fireworks display to mark the 50th anniversary of its iconic opera house. All across Europe, people gathered at iconic landmarks to mark the start of 2024. French President Emmanuel Macron claimed it would be the year of French pride, marked by the Paris 2024 Summer Olympics and reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral after a devastating fire. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky applauded Ukraine's strength in his New Year address as the country's war against Russia nears 2 years. While his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin emphasized unity and shared determination. Over in North Korea, leader Kim Jong-un vowed to launch 3 new spy satellites, build military drones, and boost its nuclear arsenal this year. Kim, along with Chinese President Xi Jinping, also jointly designated 2024 as the China-DPRK Friendship Year, marking the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two countries.
That wraps up AWANI Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Saraya Mia, and we'll see you again soon.